everybody. It's Tim Pohanka here with Severe Lack of Talent. I am joined today by my two great co-hosts,
Devlin Riley,
Nick Hall,
and Robbie Perry. I understand got his hair caught in the pitching machine, and he is out for a couple days. Is that right?
That's what he claimed.
That's what he claimed.
That's what he gets for keeping a secret that is just so astounding. His sister is a wrestler. I still can't get over that.
But he's just because he's trying to break out on his own.
I get it.
When your sister gets the talent and you don't have any talent,
then you're here on this podcast.
And then you get stuck on this podcast. So it just is. So before we get into our scapes and goats, I want to talk about something that's a little off subject. I listened to a news report the other day that said that the Regal cinemas are going to close because the James Bond film won't be released until next year. So they're closing Regal cinemas. At the same time, I hear that the state of Florida has released Miami and Tampa Bay to fill their state, to have a full stadium in this COVID time period. So now you got the theaters that aren't going to close. Now Miami says they're not going to put people in the stands. But backing it down, you're in the business that needs to have people come to your stadium.
Mm-hmm.
You're a mom.
I'm in the business that needs to have people come in.
But no, hold on. But this is where these are the two things that come together.
Yeah.
Are you willing to take your children to a sporting event in a full stadium?
Full stadium?
Or a full theater? I mean, where are we in that comfortable feeling?
With what I know now, I would be more comfortable going to a sporting event outside where it's ventilated than a movie theater. Absolutely.
Movie theaters, when COVID wasn't around, still were a liability to go to.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that. I can agree a little with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just brought up something interesting to me to think about.
Yeah.
Where are we as a society and what we're willing to do?
Yeah.
I think about going to see the Capitals play. And, and you've got people screaming, and obviously, when you're screaming, you're not the cleanest person in the world with
absolutely not.
So that going on. So I just thought it was something interesting.
It is interesting. I think 2021 is going to show a lot about what people are willing to do and what they really aren't willing to do, because it's going to be about a year since it's been going on, and now they're more comfortable, but it's going to show our priorities.
So now let's flip it around. You're in a business that requires people to come work out.
Yes.
Are you willing to go to a gym?
Well, am I personally willing to go to a gym? I mean, am I personally willing to go to places that are like gyms? Yes. Would I go to the gym? That's a different question.
Let's be honest. If you wanted to go to the gym, you also have a weight room in the stadium. So, I mean,
Yeah, exactly. So, would I be willing? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the
I think it all depends
short answer.
about the facility, because everybody and every business has reacted to the pandemic differently, and I think there are some businesses, like the one that I do work at, that we took things very serious because we do have a lot of at-risk groups and children, and I mean, we spaced everything out. We have people cleaning before and after. We limit it. We check in. It's touchless. You wear a mask. I mean, we did, and so far, we haven't had an issue.
Yeah, but at this point in time, and I'm not saying anything away from what you guys are doing, because you guys are doing a fantastic job with it, but at this point in time, who's not doing that?
A lot of people.
A lot of people. There really are. It
depends on where you're at, too.
There's
some states that right now they just don't think it's real. For instance, Florida letting in entire stadiums. It's
even in this state, and I'm not going to go into the businesses and things like that. There are some that are taking incredible. I mean, you can see the level of seriousness at different stores. I mean, if you look at a grocery store or a Lowe's or a Home Depot, at times they're limiting people that go into it. I went to a Verizon store last night at like 8:00, and they have a guy at the door that says only,
only the people they're currently working with are let in.
Yeah. So I mean, that level of seriousness, there's a scale on that level of seriousness.
What I've also seen too is that ironically, and this is a whole discussion beyond sports, but ironically, the more corporate the entity as far as restaurants go, normally the more stringent their changes are for COVID is what I've noticed.
Really?
Your places that are more corporate that I've seen, your tables are more spread out as opposed to mom and pop shops. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to name names. But then I've been into some places that I thought, hey, these guys, I don't think they believe COVID's real right now.
God, I mean,
I've been in some that it's still shoulder to shoulder like it's no other. But then you go to a place like, and I'm going to throw out one of a burger joint that I love is Five Guys. You go to Five Guys, I'm 20 feet away from the next table.
Right.
They're spread out so incredibly much. But I've seen that more and more that the more corporate they get.
I would say I think with again, we're journeying way off topic, but with Five Guys, a lot of their business right now is being done through DoorDash and things like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been to enough mom and pop stores because let me tell you something. There is nothing better about downtown Fredericksburg than these restaurants that are one-offs, that are not chains, that you can go into and the menu's unique. They're doing amazing work too. I mean, I think you might be right in certain ones that you might see, but I would say in a whole, I couldn't be prouder about the stuff that our downtown merchants are doing with that. So all right, let's get into it. And if you don't mind, I want to start today.
Go for it.
Yeah,
All
full
right.
send.
So what I want to start with is my scapegoat, and my scapegoat this week is Bill O'Brien and the Houston Texans.
Oh.
So
big oof.
Okay,
Yeah.
So you listed last week, if we get our board back up, that the Houston Texans are the best 0-3 team in NFL, which now makes them officially the best 0-4 team.
I still stand by that.
In the NFL.
What's going on then? What do you think's going on?
Well,
they suck.
It's the interesting thing. So Bill O'Brien was last year was appointed head coach. And then was given the title. Well, he's always been the head coach for the last 4 or 5 years, and then he got the title. Then he got the title as general manager.
Okay.
And nothing has gone right since.
When that happened, when he was awarded general manager, I remember, and I wish Robbie was here because I had this conversation with him on how bad of a decision it was back then. I'm not saying it led to what we're at now. I mean, very few general managers can take a great team. The Texans were a good team last year, and they have been last few years. So what has happened between that and this year for them to be this bad, I don't know. But I didn't think that his hiring as general manager, taking over those roles, would have this much of an effect this quickly. But that's a terrible decision. There's very few people that can do that, and in my opinion, you have to be proven as a coach in order to do that. One of the staples of having that is obviously Bill Belichick. He earned that right to run his. But once again, we're talking some of the best, cream of the crop, right? And so, how does Bill O'Brien fit into that mold of those two names that we just mentioned right there? I don't know. I don't see how. And unfortunately, in this last game too, he took over the play calling duties as well. He tried to take over a little, but I mean that was also a last-ditch effort to save his own job. And I get that. Knowing that he was coaching for his job, you want as much of the responsibility on yourself as anything. You don't want to, if Tim's calling bad plays, I don't want to get fired for it. So, if I'm going to get fired, I'm going to go out guns blazing my way. That's what he did. He got fired going out guns blazing his way.
Did they jump the gun though? Because even Tom Brady, voiced his opinion on this and was kind of like confused and baffled by their decision to fire him already.
I don't think there's any confusion. I mean, number one, going back to where it was about them giving the role of general manager, there's a reason why you have a general manager, and there's a reason why you have a head coach. Yeah. There's a sounding board. There's a process. There's that checks and balances.
It's complete autonomy.
There's that wingman behind you that's going to sit there and go, that's a bad idea. And if you don't have that person behind you that can sit there and tap you on the shoulder and go, you need to take a moment of pause to rethink your plan, that's number one.
The reason they gave it to him was because he was very vocal when drafting Deshaun Watson, that Deshaun was his guy. And he looked like an absolute genius for it. He did. Deshaun Watson is a great quarterback. He was undervalued in the entire draft. One team took a shot on him, being the Texans, and next thing you know, conversation for Rookie of the Year. I don't remember if he won it. Conversation Rookie of the Year, but has been a solid quarterback through and through. Got hurt last year. That was really unfortunate. But a solid. So, I mean, he looked like a genius. And so I guess that the Texans must have seen that and thought, hey, every single one of his draft picks before he's the GM.
I mean, you and I could sit at the draft day and go, hey, let's pick a sleeper and then see if it hits.
Yeah.
How many other people get the first round pick and it's a dud?
Yeah.
But the other part that I think that went into this is once he got control of the whole team, now he's getting in arguments with the head coach, the other coaches. He gets in a giant argument with J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did you not expect this was going to end badly? And this is how badly they want you gone. They promote Romeo Crennel to be the head coach. Now, nothing against Romeo. Been in the league forever. He's now the oldest head coach in the NFL. But he has a winning percentage. He's like 20. I think he's like 23 and 77. I mean, or 58. I think it's 23 and 58. He's got a 33% winning percentage. You hate this guy so much. You're going to promote a guy who's has had one winning season his entire coaching career.
I think they saw the writing on the wall that if they didn't get him out now, the lasting effects were going to be more than just a bad season. The lasting effects were going to be more than a great draft pick. The lasting effects are going to be losing your stars like Deshaun Watson, losing your stars like J.J. Watt. I think that there must have been writing on the wall because, and the reason I say there must have been some people in the ears of ownership of the Texans to get rid of Bill O'Brien in the amount of time that they did and how quickly they did during the season. There has to be somebody speaking that opinion heavily from the player side, because the fact that Bill O'Brien somehow gets fired before Adam Gates is absurd.
Yeah.
So there has to be something more going on if Bill O'Brien is the first to get fired. Now, one of those should also be noted that there's a lot more talent on the Texans than the Jets, and somehow they're both 0-4. A lot more talent with the Texans than the Jets.
But that goes back to my point about when you said they're the best 0-4 team. You know, hey,
they're the most talented 0-4 team.
They could be the best. They could be the best 0-16 team by the end of the season.
At this rate,
that's where they're going. It was crazy to me to look at that and go, to your point about, hey, oh my God, Gase didn't get fired first.
Yeah,
how did you dodge that?
I don't understand how any coach went before Gase, but here we are, 2020, folks.
So back to you and Brady coming up with a comment on this.
Yeah,
Brady needs to concentrate on counting to 4.
Oh my gosh!
So if he can't, before he should be talking about other teams and other coaches, he should get first down,
guys.
You gotta still respect.
Third down.
I mean, someone who has
fourth down. I mean,
he's been in the game long enough though that when he does speak, I mean, he's someone that I'd listen to.
I'm with you on that.
And take his opinion into like, okay, so why does he think that, you know. Why does he think that it's a bad move? Or they
he also probably shouldn't be talking about the teams, but I mean, he should be worrying about his own team.
Guys, the Bucs are bad. The Bucs aren't a great football team.
I think this is going to be such a reality check for him. Little princess, but I think he's going to have a really hard time.
Gronk.
Yeah.
Well, and I really hated that Gronk came back, and I love me some Gronk. I love the personalities.
Yeah.
I love me some Gronk.
Yeah.
I hated that he came back. He retired, and when he retired, he didn't pull the Brett Favre. He didn't pull the Jason Witten, where I retired, but I have it in my mind I might want to return. When he retired, he went full send retirement. And what I mean by that is that his body completely changed. He lost weight. He got more what I'm going to call normal person healthy.
He tried to be a wrestler.
Yeah, but he got more normal person healthy rather than NFL caliber football person healthy. Those are two different types of healthy.
Yeah.
But so he lost a bunch of weight, and guys, when he went to training camp, he was like half the size that Gronk once was. Gronk is not Gronk. It takes time to build that back up. I don't like that Gronk came back, and I think that I don't think his legacy is tarnished for it. I think he still goes down as, in my opinion, the greatest tight end of all time.
Why don't you like that he came back? Do you not think he has any years left in him? He's like early 30s.
He's been beat up.
No,
yeah.
No. I think he does have years left in him. But my thing is that if you are in the tip-top NFL elite caliber shape of your life, and then you spend a whole year not ever planning on playing football again, so therefore you try to lose all that weight, you can't just turn a switch and put it back on.
Right.
He definitely he's not the Gronk that we knew.
And he's not going to be because of how he treated his body. And I'm not saying that he let himself go. I'm saying the opposite. He got into normal person shape. He
Right.
lost weight. He did.
Right.
It's not great to be as bulky as he was going into his age post football. And so
You think he could play a different position?
no.
Shake it up a little? No.
No.
Yeah, no.
No.
I
No,
mean,
I don't think he played.
I don't. Yeah, I think at that point in time, I mean, he's not fast enough. And,
He's not. I think that now, if you want to give him another year or two, and he's trying to play for another 5 years, that's one thing. But to come back for 1 year after what he put his body through, it's just he was never going to be the same. And it's not just me saying that. That was what everybody was talking about before the season. Is that he doesn't even look like the Gronk once did because he tried to get out of football and he should have stuck with it, but I don't think it tarnishes his legacy. I think he's going to go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, tight end of all time. And then, and I don't think people remember this little blip on him, but they do remember this blip on Brady.
Oh yeah, no.
So I think they don't remember Gronk came back in the history books. They do remember that Tom Brady has this stint with the Buccaneers, and so him not playing as well as he could. Granted, he did throw 5 touchdowns last week, but look, it took 5 touchdowns for Brady's team to come back after he threw a pick 6 to beat the Chargers, a bad Chargers team, by a score right at the end. So I'm actually starting to think that the 2-2 Buccaneers, who in my opinion should be 1-3, are not a good football team.
It's not looking good for them at all. So you're gonna like this.
All right.
My GOAT is EA Sports.
Oh, I love it. Hit me with it.
Alex Ovechkin is gracing the cover of EA Sports NHL 21.
Okay.
And they have a great little montage of Alex to Ovi going through his whole career and how he's grown up from just a toddler in the sport of hockey to being one of the greatest, if not the greatest goal scorer potentially of all time. So
When did he start hockey?
well, I mean, he's 35.
No, yeah, like was
So
he
you
like
figure it was
three-year-old
yeah,
on ice?
I mean, back in Mother Russia,
Yeah.
they got started.
Yeah, they started.
Started
Yeah,
early.
yeah.
I mean, his
You can walk, you can skate,
Yeah.
right?
his young son is already playing with a hockey stick. But I mean, it's a great video.
Tribute
just to
and stuff,
just
yeah.
going through.
Yeah.
Them.
He's so deserving. He's
Yeah.
deserving of it. I mean, there's other players that you could put on the cover. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I don't think anybody's out there gonna argue that Ovechkin's not one of the ones that absolutely deserves to grace the cover.
I mean, some of the pictures are the
yeah.
stuff. I mean, it's just like powerful. Yeah.
And they're rating him with the hardest shot. It's because they know these EA Sports ratings are important to these players. Like, what do you mean?
They are.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They
so
are.
they
It's a
look at
big
They
deal.
take
These
so
guys.
much offense to it.
Yeah, like, what are you talking about? So I'm going to give my shout out to EA Sports, and because I know it's important to you. And that's because I want to bring to the show the things I know are important to you.
That's so sweet.
NHL start is estimated for January 1.
How exciting!
So I just thought
How
I
exciting!
wanted you to know that.
I'm excited. Next year is going to be the year that I go full dive into NHL.
Well, we are, and I think when they go, we need to start doing when it's outside and it's cold. You talked about getting an ice rink at the stadium. We got to do some.
We're gonna play some hockey.
We got
We'll
to
play some hockey.
watch some hockey.
So,
you don't want to
love-
see me play some
I'm
hockey.
Love to
going
go.
to get you on skates now.
No,
Absolutely.
If you get me on skates, you can make me on ice because I'm just going to boink.
EA Sports, a great decision by them. If any gamers are out there and know much about EA Sports, that just means that once you turn on the game, you're going to have to spend a whole bunch more money on probably having to pay real money to play as Alex Ovechkin on the game. EA Sports, very well known for the beginning of microtransaction and loot boxes. They drained every penny out of all the kids across the country. But hey, good decision. Good decision to put Alex Ovechkin. The video was great. It is awesome. It is awesome.
So I'm excited, and I understand you're going to be getting us all a copy of it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's something like that.
So we
yeah.
can play.
Yeah.
So we can play with you in your show, right?
There
Yeah.
we go. There we go. There we go. I like that.
So we have a special announcement to let you guys know. We are going to start expanding the show.
Yeah.
We're going to journey into some smaller shows. Nick is going to kick off his own show about electronic gaming.
Yeah. So we're going to be starting a few other shows, and the one that I'm going to be able to host here starting in the next 2 weeks is going to be called The Dusty Controller. The Dusty Controller is a esports podcast for the casual gamer. So we are going to be taking esports and kind of relating it to what a casual gamer and what had that kind of effect. We'll be doing game reviews on it and all that kind of good stuff. And so the Severe Lack of Talent page will actually become a network of podcasts, and one of them on that will be the Dusty Controller, led by myself. We'll have hopefully interviewees to come on, have a good time with it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're really excited for that.
Well, I enjoyed. If you don't have a chance to see him online playing, your gamer tag is
hit me up on Facebook, guys. Facebook at Pegleg Gaming, all one word, at Pegleg Gaming. We've started a streaming team, me and a few buddies, and really the main goal of it, though, not to kid ourselves, is to do this for fundraisers. That's the goal when it all boils down to it. Also, too, a few weeks ago, Tim so graciously made sure we knew that esports athletes aren't real athletes. So all I'm doing is proving that I'm a professional athlete.
Well, you're in training. I mean, I noticed that your thumb is bulking up a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Look at-
Oh yeah.
It's intimidating.
Now, you should have seen it last night. You have to go on there.
I'm gonna have to.
So
now.
I'm watching him last night. Well, number one, I'm going through my phone last night. Like, when you're bored, you're going through your phone.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
So you only watched him because you were bored?
No, I was going through my phone.
Yes.
I was going through my phone. I'm looking at it, and I go, "Is that Nick?" Pegleg Gaming. I've heard of that. That's what he's talking about. Oh yeah, that's Nick. That's not a football game or a hockey game. It's a pirate game.
Yeah.
And then I look at him, because his picture, the game is going on in the background.
He's got a little icon.
And you see his little faces over here. And I look at him, I go, does he have a captain's hat on?
Oh my god.
And I'm thinking, is that an eye patch? is that a hook on his hand? Oh no, he didn't have a hook on his hand. I'm kidding about that.
That'd be extremely hard to game with a hook on your
But
hand.
yeah, it's like, that's
Wait, you actually were. This was not just an image. It was
him gaming.
you gaming with the eye patch on too.
No, he made up the eye patch. He made up the eye patch.
I took creative liberty.
Okay, you took it a little too far. Okay.
I took it too far.
Okay.
I thought the hook was a good giveaway.
That was
But he's over there playing, and he's like,
Yeah.
and I'm like going, oh, you're the man, and he goes, hey, thanks, Tim. I'm like, oh my god.
Aw.
So I'm gonna give him credit. He can read and play a game at the same time.
Well, that's also because I'm really bad
Ladies,
at playing
they
games.
can do it.
It's like, yeah.
Uh-oh, secret
Tabitha's gonna know. Oh yes, you can multitask.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the
So you
the
can
biggest
remember
problem
to take
with
the
this.
trash out and put the seat down. So congratulations on that.
Yeah.
We look forward to that going on.
Yeah, it's growing slowly but surely. And for with streaming services, you have to have a certain amount of followers before they'll let you start getting income, revenue, fundraisers, however you want to set it up.
Just like YouTube.
Yeah, just like YouTube, just like Twitch. We chose Facebook up and coming. So yeah, guys, check us out. Pegleg Gaming.
Let's be sure get on there, like him, so we can get it taken care of.
Yeah.
Speaking of likes.
Speaking of likes, we need your help. We need some likes on Facebook. We need you to go to Amazon. I mean, not Amazon. Yeah, go to Amazon.
I'm already there. Okay.
Yeah, like us on Amazon.
Tim will do yard work if you go and download the podcast.
It's just
and
really
like
bad yard work.
It's just really bad.
Really bad. Yeah, like I'll move a leaf and go, there you go. There you go. No, if you can go to Apple Podcast and like us, that'd be great. Leave us a 5-star review. That would be even better.
Yes.
But like our page so we can keep doing this and bring out more. Because we have other shows that are coming online. Robbie is working on a show that is going to be talking about the strange, the bizarre, the not so well known moments from sports. He's going to be able to dig deep into the sports archive and bring out stories and tell them, which I think are going to be pretty amazing. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a show. We're going to talk about great coaches and not just about the great coaches in terms of why they're great because they won a bunch of games, but why they may have been game changers. So we're really looking at that, and Devlin's got some stuff in the works. So we're going to be adding some content to you, and we're really, really pumped about doing that. So look for those.
Yes.
Devlin, what do you got for
us?
us?
Well, it's taking me back because I'll start with my GOAT. There's not much debate on her. But growing up, Sue Bird was an icon. I mean, she was our idol.
Yeah.
Watching UConn play, I loved Notre Dame. So the year that Notre Dame beat them in the Final Four, I mean, it was just nuts. But Sue Bird, she's just been throughout the years just someone to embody really what women's sports is about. She's a competitor. And her spouse is also a competitor.
I mean, literally, that's a household that have
right?
two specific goats. I mean,
right. So she, let's see, let me get this right. Just recently, which you were aware of, but the WNBA finals wrapped up, and she was on the team. And was this her 16th season?
Brianna Stewart?
No. Sue Bird.
Sorry,
Bird.
apologize.
No. So she plays for Washington, the Seattle Storm, and she just closed it up, got the WNBA finals, and she had this moment where now she's almost 40, and she's playing with like girls that are in their 20s, and she remembers how quickly things you just don't really take in the moment. And now, just kind of like with life, every moment towards the end of something you really cherish. And she just sat there and she really took it in. And although there weren't fans, which makes a big difference, especially in basketball, she said before the game she started to get excited. And she was, pretty emotional thinking about winning. And I don't know, how many years she's got left in her. She's had a couple knee injuries. But just watching her play throughout the years and then coming back, seeing her win in COVID and win this WNBA finals was just, I wanted her to be my GOAT just for her overall career.
That's a good one too. And then I'm going to give a shout out as well to top that to Brianna Stewart.
Yeah.
Man, talk about. I mean, when it comes down to playing the sport and being dominant in your sport, she's got to be up there with 20 year ago Tiger Woods. As far as dominating your own sport,
yeah.
I mean, really, it's hard for me up there with Gretzky, there with Gretzky. I mean, right now when you look at points per minute in a championship finals for basketball, generally basketball in total, I think fourth place. I don't want to get these numbers wrong, but I will say that number 2 on the list. All of basketball, professional basketball in the championship series, points per minute played. Number 2 is LeBron James, and number 1 is Brianna Stewart. Just to kind of show that her dominance in basketball and what that is on the women's side, and how that translates to all of basketball. You got to think high school, Gatorade, number 1 player coming out of high school. In college, 4 NCAA national championships, 3 women's college basketball player of the year, first overall draft pick, rookie of the year, now I believe finals MVP, won the finals MVP. She is good at the basketball. She is good at the basketball.
She's going to be someone that's going to be for women's sports, like a Michael Jordan.
An icon.
And even LeBron's been throwing shout outs to Sue and the team too. So we're not down yet, Tim. I know how you feel about women's sports. I'm kidding. So, he actually has influenced me to, really highlight, because there's some phenomenal players.
So let's talk about when you say you played basketball.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm not here to shout out your age, but you know what it's
okay,
like.
I'm 27.
Okay, so you know what it's like to be on the court as you get older.
Yes.
I mean, I know what it's like for me to get in the pool as I've gotten older.
Yes.
It isn't easy.
No, it's not.
I mean, playing basket. I mean, in the water, there's no impact, so it's not. It's not. I mean, you're not going as fast as you think you are. Like, oh wow, that's what I used to do. But I imagine just the pounding and the pounding on your knees, and I mean,
she's had an ACL tear,
and then getting bounced around and pushed around.
She blew out her Achilles just April of last year.
Right, and then she had a bruise on her knee. I mean, she's had some bumps.
One of the toughest injuries to ever come back from is an Achilles, and that's what they're worried about Durant right now for that exact reason. But Brianna Stewart just did it in a 12-month period. It's absurd.
Yeah. So when you look at that. And then on top of that, and this is the other part that's just amazing to me. I can't imagine a guy going through childbirth and being able to get back on the court or getting back on the on tennis and going back to the top of their game as quickly as some of these ladies have. It's just absolutely. there's one thing to happen a knee injury. It's this: you're having all sorts of changes.
Oh
that go
man,
on.
your body, you're just like everything's different.
It's an amazing thing to watch. And then when you watch some of these sports, I remember watching women's lacrosse in college, and versus watching men's lacrosse, and it was definitely the difference between skill and strength. Where
guys kind of
where you're hitting each other,
Yeah.
versus the ball's just going zing 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 zing,
Right.
and it's amazing the difference. I always sat there and thought, wow, if you put a guy on the field with the women playing, they're going to be like, what the heck was that? So.
All right.
So what else do you have for us?
All right, so I know this was noted. It was over a year ago now, but Piers Morgan. I mean, he's known for making just. I can't. There are words that are popping in my head. I'm not allowed to say on the podcast, but he causes debate. But sometimes it's just
he's
trashy.
just a jerk.
He's a jerk. So
he's just a jerk. He knows he's a jerk. He acts like a jerk.
Yeah.
He was kicked off US TV because he's a jerk.
But he made a statement, and I know throughout the decades, women have wanted equality, especially when it comes to equality in sports. And there were some newscasters during the World Cup. It was the game for Britain. I don't know who they were playing against, but afterwards, on a Britain morning show, he made a comment and started a big online debate about there were 3 women that were casting and reporting that live game. And his just debate was, if you want equality, why was there not a man? And to be honest, was there a man that would have wanted to do it? Was there anyone that was up for it?
I would have been glad to broadcast a women's World Cup game as
Well,
much
we
as
know-
anyone. I mean,
but-
I'm at the World Cup. I don't care who it is, but yeah.
But one of his co-anchors said to get equality with so much inequality, you have to go to the opposite end of the scale to then come back and eventually meet in the middle. And I believe that to be true.
I mean, I would look at it more from the standpoint, were they qualified?
Yes.
Then what's the problem?
Right.
I mean,
that was the point of on the show was, well, did they do a good job? And he goes, that doesn't matter. It's the debate
Yeah.
So in sports with newscasters and trying to get a nice mix in there, I thought that was interesting. I was off on his side. I did not, I don't support his approach to it, but I just thought it would be interesting to see women kind of come back into being an actual newscaster and reporting the sports, and not necessarily they're usually down there on the field in a nice pencil skirt or dress, which I know that's nice, but one of the first articles that popped up last week when I was looking up what's going on were the top 10 hottest women newscasters in sports. And it's like, well, why can't they be the best, most accurate?
But if you look at it, and to be fair, these were great women who have paved the way. The first female sportscaster in my generation was exposed to was a woman named Phyllis George. And she was a former beauty queen. Yeah. But she was on the NFL Today, or whatever the show was at that time, whatever they called it. But she paved the way. Then you had Bonnie Bernstein, you had Susie Colbert, now you've got Erin Andrews, Michelle Tafoya, and a litany of other great women. The NHL just did a whole telecast with women's sport with women broadcasters. What's funny is when I look at these now, I don't look at whether it's a woman announcing or a man announcing.
Right.
I'm looking, do they bring good content?
I think most people do. But he's just wanting to, just like we see in the media with the protest. He's someone that just wants to stir the pot and cause... I mean, last week, weren't there 2 female coaches and a female referee for the first time on the field? Yeah. That's awesome, right?
Did they call the game right? I mean, I look, and I will say this, in the Women's World Cup especially, when you can bring in announcers, the reason why Troy Aikman is an excellent commentator is he's played the game. He understands the game. He could talk about the game. When you look at the Women's World Cup, they're bringing in some of these people who are former players that played with some of these people who can give you amazing insights, or they were coached by this coach. To me, it goes back to this. Whoever's broadcasting that game just needs to know the game. Yeah. If you're gonna bring a guy in or a woman in and they don't know the sport, it's going to come across.
Yeah. So in the end, Piers Morgan still sucks.
At the end, and
you are not invited on the show.
And he was kicked off
He's kicked off our show.
Yeah, exactly.
He's off our waiting list.
Back to England you go.
With that in mind, Piers Morgan, we love to have you on the show as a guest.
Yeah. Come debate.
Yeah, we just lost England on the show.
I don't know. I don't think he has a lot of support right now.
I just don't want, we just can't lose our entire English audience. I mean, this is a worldwide network here.
Okay, my bad. Sorry, guys.
We'll have tea and crumpets later.
All right. All right, our famous man.
All right, guys, we got. I have a great goat this week.
Okay.
This made me laugh when I came up with this. Novak Djokovic.
Oh, Djokovic.
Right.
Was he
Here's
not
why
in
he's-
mine a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, wait, just let your
He
joke.
was as your escape because or
It was.
goat or whatever, but
It was because his first reaction was so nasty, and then he was like, "Okay, I'm sorry."
I do believe that he may officially be our biggest target of the year.
so far other than Tampa, the city.
Because I got him for his COVID game.
Yes.
Oh, that's
I got him for the
right.
COVID match. Someone got him you got him for the first
2
time.
weeks ago, the throat hit.
Yeah.
Because he was upset and just swung it back.
Okay, and now you're getting him for.
Goat, and here's why he's our goat. This week.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because in sports, perseverance is one of the most
Yes.
important traits that you can have. And Novak showed perseverance this last week because despite getting kicked out of the tournament,
Again.
get kicked out of the tournament, he showed that he's going to persevere through that suspension, that, and continue to hit line judges.
But he didn't get kicked off this time.
No. This one was very different. So there's a little bit of joking that goes into this, but at the same time, it's worth. I couldn't not do this show without mentioning that he smoked another line judge this week. The ball was still in play when he went for it. He went for a reach shot that was he was beat on the point. He went down to try to get it. It went off the side of his racket. It went over and once again smoked the line
You sure
judge.
he didn't do it on purpose?
No. It was very obvious that he didn't do it on purpose. And this is the kind of thing that line judges do get hit all the time, but because the ball gets away from them. The reason it was different a few weeks ago is out of frustration.
Yes.
He hit the ball as hard as he could.
Right in her throat.
And it ended up hitting. And I don't believe that it was meant to be at a line judge, but he did it out of frustration.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with the play of the match. This one was directly involved with the play of the match.
Yeah.
It went off to the side and just hit
And
it
John McEnroe
right in the
sitting there
forehead.
going, "And I'm the one that has a hot temper." It was in.
How many rackets did he break over his
Oh,
career?
my gosh.
I don't know.
Oh,
I
my
mean,
gosh.
so the only thing he did was break a racket. I mean, he wasn't trying to assault judges.
True.
So, Novak, congratulations. Your third mention on the Scapes and Goats.
Yeah, I mean,
Lack
I
of
think
talent.
that's got to be a record. What is a record? But I mean, it's got to be a pretty good. I mean, it's good fodder for us.
For sure. And just real quick, before I move on to my escape, I want to go back to the women's talk real quick, the women's broadcaster talk.
Let's talk.
Jimmy Burns on our Facebook feed right now has said that Susan Waldman has been a staple of Yankees broadcasting since 2005.
There we go.
So I mean, there
Thank you, Jimmy.
are women making a difference in
Yeah.
the broadcasting world, no doubt.
Yep.
So we wanted to give Jimmy that shout out before
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, and I mean,
move on.
it just goes to show again that Pierce was just saying something
To get a rile out of
to
people.
get around.
Yeah.
Because that's what he does.
And it just wasn't. And it was tacky.
It's the same thing a few weeks ago with Skip Bayless.
Well, Skip,
It's their job.
Whatever happened, did he? What?
Skip Bayless.
Nothing happened. But it's not the first or the last time that Skip Bayless has gone off the deep end. So I mean, it's the same. It's the same as Piers Morgan. That their job is to generate clicks.
It's not
Yep.
that the fact that their job is that. All right, I'm going to call Skip Bayless out. Now he has got a bigger show than we do, more talent than we do. Yada 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 yada.
I
don't know about
debatable.
talent.
Yeah.
Debatable.
But if we came out here and we just said stuff to be controversial, that's all they're doing is they're trying to make up for their lack of something.
Yeah.
We accept ours.
Yeah,
That's what makes us good. Is we know who we are.
Speak for yourself.
We live up to our. We know our level. I don't know. I think when you're just taking those positions to get your name out there, I mean at least T.O. when he said stuff could do
real
stuff.
quick want to thank you guys for that, because speaking of saying the wrong thing or saying stupid things in front of a mic, that brings me to my scapegoat of the week.
Oh.
A great transition. All right, so I'm going to the Dallas Cowboys
Sorry,
for my escape of the week.
Cowgirls.
Yes.
Cowgirls.
at
There
this
you go.
point. Why has it got to be girls? Why has it got to be girls? Are you trying to
You
say
know,
the girls
you're right.
aren't as good as boys?
That would be. You're right.
That's insensitive of you.
I'll have to think of another dig. I've been saying that since I was 10.
Dallas Cows.
The cows.
Yeah.
There we go. There's
Well,
the cows.
I like cows, though.
That's
Go
that's
on.
great. The
Let's
cows.
move on.
Wow.
Oh no. Okay, that's got to be clipped.
Can you make
We need a
comments
clip of
on
that.
his play while he's playing? Nice puns like that.
Oh yeah.
We can do a pun battle. Okay.
Yes, please sign me up, guys. So my skip of the week though is the Dallas Cowboys. In general, almost everybody. The picture that's up on the screen right now is Mike McCarthy, the head coach. But in general, how everything was handled after another bad loss, and in my opinion, their worst loss of the season, getting smoked by the Cleveland Browns, which
Like,
all of a
what?
sudden brings up another debate. Are the Cleveland Browns good? Because they sure did look good. Right now, 3-1. Another debate for another segment. Dallas Cowboys just got everything wrong post game.
Why does
so,
he look
Wait,
like his
I gotta
soul was
stop you for a
sucked
second.
out?
on this. They've won 2 games.
No, they have won one.
In the NFC least.
Who's that?
The Browns. They beat the Redskins, or the Washington team.
Yeah, the team.
And they beat the Cowboys.
Who is their third win against? They lost against the Ravens,
Okay.
and that was a bad loss.
Okay.
For
The
them.
Ravens are looking pretty good.
But then the
They-
other
they
two,
are-
the other 2 teams that you beat are.
They're going to have one more in there somewhere. I don't know
me
exactly who it
see.
is. By no means am I saying they're at the top of the league, but they're not a pushover anymore.
Okay, well I'm just saying when
Oh
you.
God, they got crushed by the Ravens.
Yeah, they got crushed by the Ravens.
They beat the Bengals.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so 3,
I'm
The
just,
Bengals,
Hey, I'm just throwing
the
it out there. I know
Washington
you said
team.
it was
3
a
not
different.
very quality wins. I'll
Yeah,
say
Okay,
that.
so
But
they're playing the Colts this weekend.
that's a good matchup.
So we'll find
It's
out.
a good matchup.
You'll
We'll find out
find
a little
out.
more. But the Dallas Cowboys, my escape of the week for how they handled their post-game presser. So Cowboys are bad. They are, in my opinion, the best team, though, in their division still. And I think that they will win their division this year at possibly only 7 or 8 wins. I think this is the worst division in
Wow.
football since the 2014 NFC South, in which the Panthers won the division at 7-8-1. Only time it's ever had a sub 500 team win a division. I think this is the worst division since then.
They have played the Rams, which are looking good, and the Seahawks, which are doing fairly well. The cows. Let's call them the cows. I mean,
And then they lost to the Browns. So you can't just stop at 2 quality losses. There's also 2 others that are really bad.
I'm going to say I think that the way that the entire NFC East is playing,
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they all have 4 wins at the end of the season.
Really?
I don't think-
Do you think it's going to be...
They'll beat each other one time.
No, they won't do that because I don't believe that the Giants without Saquon Barkley or the Washington football team can actually get wins against the other 2. I'm gonna throw that out there. You're looking at
So,
1 and 2 win
they-
Giants. So real quick, my actual escape on what it is. We
Okay,
haven't gotten
yeah.
there yet. At the post game press conference, one of their safeties made the quote when asked if it's an effort problem. He said, "Yes, we're trying, but not like on every play. You know, like it's."
Like,
He
okay.
said, "We're in the NFL. You'd be crazy to think that we give 100% full speed on every single play. It's impossible." Was his direct quote. He said that it
And who
is
was this?
impossible. One of the safeties for the Cowboys.
I'm just joking because I'm thinking, God, if he was on the Patriots,
Yeah. Well,
How fast
McCarthy then backed him up. No, I'm sorry. Backed him up by retracting his statement for him, by saying that the quote that he gave was a poor job of handling a question when he was very frustrated after a very bad loss, which McCarthy said that he will admit this was a very bad loss. Everybody's tensions are high.
That doesn't mean you
And-
say things like that.
Yeah, but you also have to realize, and I will always say this, direct interviews right after a game when your emotions are high, you tend to say things that you don't always think through all the way.
but okay.
With that in mind,
I've seen people make comments that they didn't think through all the way, like, I'm the only one out there trying. You're crazy to think we try every play.
yeah.
Nick is famous and deals with the Fredericksburg paparazzi, so he knows.
Yes.
McCarthy though then said, which what made this even better was that he said, no, everybody is out there trying. We are trying our best. We're just playing soft.
Okay.
But in a way, is that not contradicting itself in the same statement? How are you saying that you're trying 100%, but by saying you're playing soft means you're not trying hard enough
I think an effort,
at the same time?
But what, maybe, I don't know.
So
and
it
then,
was
but
just...
then you got Dak Prescott, who's got a killer season going.
Right.
And, I mean, you know, it's crazy.
Can we talk
their
about Butler
defense is
soon?
bad. Their defense is bad. The
Yeah.
Cowboys' defense is very bad. I mean, the Browns might be an okay, above-average team, but they're not a team that should put up 30 and 40 points on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
They're not.
It's
They're
just-
not
it's
that good.
It's just horrible.
It's an awful operation right now down in Dallas.
So before we get to that, I want to recap a few things that we've talked about
Yes.
this week, in the weeks past. Tyrod Taylor
Yeah.
has been demoted. He will not be the starting quarterback. So we talked a couple weeks ago about what that freak injury.
Hey,
from,
that was when
his
I was
career.
sitting on a beach commenting in at that time, and I'm just going to go ahead and double down on my exact statement. Those trainers knew what they were doing.
That was just
What?
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but anybody in their right mind could have told you Tyrod Taylor is not taking you to the promised land where you want to be.
Yeah, well, I think that the damage to his career is. I mean, we were the comment that we came through is there going to be a lawsuit that comes from this?
Right? But
I mean,
so,
this guy's lost. I mean,
So you cannot sue.
well, it's up with the Players Association. But what they
You
wanna talk
you can't sue your trainers for malpractice with the team. It's part of your actual contract.
But isn't there some, like, maybe a clause that's in it, like, to some degree? Like, that's pretty.
I know.
That's agreed. Like,
the
but
hard part is that he's a gamer.
And he was like, hey, it was an accident, right?
Yeah.
Things happen. But he's
Not. They said that
Why?
that Justin Herbert he's playing great. He's playing great.
Herbert
Yeah.
looks fantastic.
Looks
Yeah.
fantastic.
Looks fantastic. He looks great.
But Tyrod Taylor has been demoted down.
Tyrod Taylor was just a Band-Aid until Herbert was ready anyways. No one in San Diego, LA now.
It's
No
just
one in
a
LA actually thought that Tyrod Taylor was going to be the quarterback all year long.
Mm-hmm.
He was signed for a backup deal and awarded the starting job. I mean, ask any fan of any team Tyrod Taylor has been a part of. He's not a staple quarterback.
but you
It's just a shame.
and you said you're not into conspiracies, but like you were kind of insinuating that you think.
No.
Okay.
I'm not really. But guys, people lose their starting job after injury all the time. That's nothing
That's
new.
sad.
Well, but this is he was trying to get back in the game with a cracked rib. I just think it's a sad thing. Now the other one that was sad news that we've touched base on. How did Dwayne Haskins go from number 1 to number 3?
Well, I'm going to throw this out there.
I mean-
I would encourage our viewers to go back and watch previous episodes where they'll see me say that exact thing since back in January before the season even started, that Dwayne Haskins is not a good quarterback. We saw that last year, and for some reason we thought, oh, well, Ron Rivera's coming in, therefore Dwayne Haskins is now a good quarterback. No, it doesn't work that way. You're either good or you're bad.
So you don't think coming out of Ohio State, like he was a good quarterback
He
before I
had-
get hit in the NFL?
He had talent, but there's always something to remember about some of these guys in college.
Mm-hmm.
You need to look at the rest of their team.
Yeah.
Ohio State was very good from top to bottom. And so
He had a lot of
remember
support.
that, yeah, I mean, you look at some of the players that were on that team. Zeke.
Well, he also
Zeke Elliott. I mean,
he
like-
didn't play, but he wasn't starter.
No.
So he had 1 year under his
He
belt.
only had 1 year of starting. It's almost like the college coach, Urban Meyer, who was a great coach and a great talent evaluator. My goodness, he's up there. He's up there in my opinion with Nick Saban. Now there's a hot take, but almost like Urban Meyer, also didn't think he was that great. But yet here we are.
It's just
It doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't surprise me at all. And kudos, I've been saying it from the very beginning. Who is their starter now?
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen. That won't last long.
Do you think that's enough time though for a quarterback to really, especially with this kind of season, to give them that 4 weeks and that's it?
Absolutely.
He's got the worst quarterback rating in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's at like a 30. So it's horrible.
Yeah.
The team is playing horrible. Kyle Allen, his stats last
Oh,
year were horrible.
I have been saying this since it was announced that Alex Smith got back, Alex Smith will be the starter at the end of the season for the Washington football team.
And, you know, I think that it's bad. I mean, again, it's same crap, same team, no name.
I know, right?
If you ask me, the Washington football team, out of all the teams we keep throwing this around, the Washington football team is the team that needs a Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
They need to go after that number 1 pick and get Trevor Lawrence.
Well,
that is something that could serve them well in the long run for sure.
I'm going to throw out a new team recommendation.
Okay, here we go.
Disappointments.
There we go.
You know,
What was that movie?
Replacements?
The replacements? Yeah, they were just going to call them the disappointments.
The disappointments.
So you wanted to bring up something.
I just love Jimmy Butler, and I know I've talked about him, but he's killing it in the finals. He outplayed LeBron, and which can lead into something that you talked about, and then you have maybe a different opinion on LeBron's reaction, but Jimmy Butler's killing it.
Oh, he had a great key.
I mean, yeah, he's
had a couple.
My favorite way about how he's played is that time that they lost 3 games in the finals out of the first 4. That was pretty big.
Jimmy Butler is my man. Talk crap more.
Look, I will say this is that when you bring your game and you have a great game and you bring it, you deserve the credit for it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Jimmy Butler had a monster game. So for those of you out there, throw out a stat that everybody's been talking about, and it is a big deal. Jimmy Butler outscored, rebounded, and assisted LeBron James in Game 3 to put the series at 2-1. It's now at 3-1. But at that time, that is the only time that a single player on the court has out-rebounded, out-assisted, and outscored LeBron James in any finals game ever. Now I'm going to throw this out there. Although that says 2 things about 2 different players. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Butler, that was one of the best performances in an NBA Finals, in my opinion, since Allen Iverson's Game 1 with the 76ers. I forget the year, but I just remember it being absurd. That's one of the best finals performances in a single game.
Not only
ever.
did he have a triple-double, he had like 40 points.
Yeah, and but along with that, I'm going to throw this out there. Mm-hmm. Does that not also speak to the dominance of LeBron James? The number of games he's played in the finals, and this is the first time that he's been outscored, rebounded, and assisted ever in the finals.
He gives it all, like every time.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
I mean, I think that speaks volumes about LeBron James as much as it does Jimmy Butler. But I'm not trying to take away from Jimmy Butler because that was seriously one of the best finals performances I think we've ever witnessed as NBA fans.
No, I would agree. And the shade part that LeBron's getting is for walking off the court with 10 seconds left to go in the game.
Yep, get that. I see that.
Now, you watched it again, right?
I've watched that video. He was not the only person to walk off the court. He was the first person to walk off the court. It's almost
as if
they were all saying, we're done.
It's almost as if a crazy thing that players follow LeBron James's lead. Who would have thought? Who would have thought, huh?
Everyone was walking off the court like, okay, it's 10, 9, 8.
Right.
The game's over. You're not no one's supposed to run the score up, and you're not supposed to go out there and be a jerk.
Yeah.
So if you watch him, they have the video of him leaving the court. Mm-hmm. They have the video of him moving off into the back. He stops, takes off his armband, and he gives it to somebody.
Yeah.
So he didn't walk off the court in disgust. He didn't walk off the court, because he was being spoiled. The game was over.
But what's the player's etiquette, though, at this point? For me, it's until the buzzer, seconds done. I just never thought to walk off early no matter what.
I just don't see it like he really necessarily walked off early because he did turn back around. Mm-hmm. So their assumption is in the NFL, once they kneel down and the clock's going off and they know it's going to end, they're all nothing new. So I think that people are trying to throw shade at LeBron because they're looking for a story.
People love to throw shade at LeBron, but I also think I never once thought it was maliciously toward the Heat. I never once thought that. However, he did leave early. They all left early, but I think it just also goes a little bit to show their competitive nature.
Yeah.
He's just ready. Nature. He's ready.
He's ready to. They got their butts kicked
Okay,
They
let's
know
move
it,
on.
and they're done. They're done with this game. I want this game to be over. I'm off the
Yeah,
court.
let's start
That's
over
part
for
of it.
the
I don't think that they did it because, hey, I'm going to show my back to the Heat.
Right.
I don't think that is
Yeah.
any part of it. But I do think that there is a part that he was a little upset.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I mean, not upset at anybody in particular. He was upset that they got the butts kicked.
Yep.
I just think I think people giving him grief. I didn't see it. I saw it as a guy that's ready to get in the game.
Hey, Betsy said it was nice meeting us.
Oh, yeah.
Love you, Betsy.
So we got a couple minutes, and I know we want to talk about we should talk about the NFL's top 3 and bottom 3, but I want to talk about
Am I the Vanna White? Do I need to hold
No,
the board
no,
up?
not yet.
I want a pay raise. I'm just kidding.
So I want to talk about one a little differently.
We'll increase your pay 100%.
Yes.
I got the NCAA's top rankings that came out for college football.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell me I'm going to tell you in the top 20 what these teams have in common. In the top 20, at number 6, Ohio State. At number 9, Penn State. Number 12, Oregon. Number 16, Wisconsin. And number 20, Michigan. They're in the top 20. What do those teams have in common?
I mean, this is really easy for me. Do you want to take a stab at it, Devin?
Do you want to take a guess?
I was going to say this.
No, there's 4 weeks into the season. What is the common?
It's not 4 for everybody. That's
It's 4.
I might have just given it away.
It's 4 into the season, but
It's actually 7 into the season.
yeah,
I don't know.
They haven't played football yet.
they haven't played football yet.
Okay. God, well,
Think about that. So they put the top
I was
20
literally
out.
putting them on the map. I'm like, okay.
So
where are they at?
Clemson,
Well,
Alabama.
they're not that close.
I'm literally okay.
But I would never have guessed they haven't played yet. I would never.
I
don't know
What?
how.
Where are they at with that? By the way, like what?
Well, they keep saying it's postponed, but at some point in
no,
time.
they have a,
God,
they
a
have
player's gonna
they have
play,
a starting
man.
date.
Well, no, the schedule keeps saying postponed. They have a
Oh,
schedule.
yeah. They have a schedule, yeah.
But I mean, Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Notre Dame, Miami, North Carolina, Oklahoma State, Cincinnati. Those teams are all undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
The first one-loss team is
Oh, who else?
Auburn.
Keep going.
First one-loss team is Auburn at 13. No, if you go below that, yes, Tennessee is in there.
Tennessee undefeated at number 14. Let's go.
Don't think I didn't see that.
Oh,
Don't think I didn't
he
see
did
that.
not want to give it to you.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
no, I
you are
know.
not about to stop at 13 right now, right?
I knew where I was going. I wanted to let him.
You just wanted him to shake it.
I know.
You were just watching him picking
All
at
the way
him.
down to 13 to cut it off. Are you going to be
Like a
kidding me?
kid with a magnifying glass and an ant. Just right, you know.
I was getting ready to start singing "Good Old Rocky Top." So, but I don't know how you could sit there and say, at 6th, Ohio State is better than some of these other undefeated teams.
Oh, well, they are.
I just think you didn't play.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's not fair to do that either. It's not fair to do that either. Right
Until
now,
you play, you can't be in the
their
rankings.
rankings should have just said that this is the date we're coming out with rankings, especially in this year. With that in mind, I think I disagree with you. I think that they do still deserve to be in there. They're not. So what? After their first game, you go from unranked straight down into there's not an asterisk. There's not an asterisk. For those that didn't see, Tim just drew a big old asterisk on the page and showed it to me. But no, see, so like, what does warrant them to be in the top 10? So let's
Playing
say
a game.
Ohio State. So one game. So
At
1-0.
least playing.
So
they
you
can
don't
see what
have
you
a problem with 1-0 Ohio State being ranked higher than 6-0
No,
Florida.
I have a problem with the fact that they haven't played.
Yeah.
And they're in the rankings to begin with at this point in time. I think to sit there and say that they're being ranked, because when we get to the end of the season, what are they going to do? Well, we
But
think you're going to be this way.
That's the thing. Yeah, I mean, it's all projections. It's all projections based. Because I mean, you look. This season in sports and football and the NFL, which is another topic that, my goodness, we could do a whole show on right now on how bad it's getting in the NFL. But this season will not be perfect.
Yeah.
It's not going to be perfect in any way in football at all. If you are wanting it to be perfect and every team to play the same number of games, to play the same number of everything, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
If you are concentrating on making sure that everything is perfect right now is the enemy of good.
Yeah.
We need to settle for good at this point. We have to. We have to.
Well,
And-
Jimmy
and I
said-
think everything you just said kind of falls into that as well.
Jimmy goes 2-0. Notre Dame moves up 2 spots and hasn't played in weeks. But then we got Tim Pohanka Jr. talking about DeAndre Carson with the game-winning deflection from Tom Brady and the Bears.
Oh yeah, you got to talk.
Yeah.
You got to talk about local.
Yeah, of course.
You gotta talk local. You gotta talk
We
local.
gotta have a segment just on our local guys, man. We've
So-
had, oh
so
god, here we go.
Transitioning to the NFL before we break,
Oh,
guys.
here we
The
go.
top 3, bottom 3. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and start because mine's easy. Look, if you win, you stay.
Where's mine?
We're getting ready to put you on the board.
Put,
here.
yeah, can you put an asterisk by mine so I know it's mine?
If you win, you stay. And right now, the Chiefs, the Seahawks, and the Bills. That is still mine.
So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna redo mine because I think I'm gonna go ahead and bring KC in here.
Oh, so from unranked to number 1. Funny how that happens.
Yeah, well they won.
They won. Okay, now they're
They
good.
won. I'm gonna go Green Bay, and I'm gonna go with Seattle.
Okay.
I'm definitely Kansas City,
Oh, so you're
Yep.
you're aligned with Robbie, Tim, on the top 3.
Green Bay, and I'll do Ravens.
Okay. So I think it's relatively it's pretty good consistency on there. The only thing we got the difference is the Ravens. And I'm going to go ahead and sit there and say with the bottom 3, I think the bottom 3 are still the bottom 3, but I'm going to add a bottom 4. I'm going to do this as a bottom 4, and I'm going to call them all tied. The tied for first bottom is Washington.
Yeah. I can't believe they're not on there right now.
I mean, I have not seen. I mean,
Why aren't the Jets there? Okay.
I mean, I get that we still have to talk about Houston at 0-3.
Oh, there's still the Houston.
But I mean,
even with it.
Houston can make this list.
No, I don't even think Houston makes the list still.
But it's just horrible. We're gonna have to get a better board.
Yeah.
But
The Vikings are having a rough season too.
yeah,
But they're
I mean,
still a strong team. I get that.
Yeah.
they're just
they're-
not as bad. I mean, it's bad.
And the Dolphins and the Bears, I mean, they're all on the bottom.
The Bears.
Bears are 4-0.
doing well. The Bears are. I mean, Nick Foles.
Bears are 4-0 right now.
I'm looking at the rankings, and they're in the bottom.
They're,
Are you looking at power rankings? Or are you looking at? Well, what are you looking at?
It's a really cool spreadsheet.
Yeah, the Bears are the most. I guess they're getting the overrated.
The Bears are my overrated. Now 4-0. They
mean,
beat
you know-
the Buccaneers. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, keep in
I don't know
mind,
what to
I mean,
think anymore.
Keep in mind, you got 4-0 here and 4-0 here.
And 0-4 there.
Yeah, I mean, so it's an interesting one. I'd love to get other people's thoughts on who they think's overrated and underrated.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this week's going to be interesting to see what happens with the rest of the teams. But the Bears are, Bears can remind them. You know what the Bears
Wait,
remind
the
me of?
Bears are the Bears 5-0 now? Did they win last week?
Let me pull this up.
They won last night, but did they win last week as well?
I think aren't they 4-1?
They might be 4-1 now.
The Bears remind me of the year that the Ravens won the Super Bowl.
They just kept squeaking by all
They
the
just
time.
keep, yeah,
Yeah, they're 4-1.
They just
4-1.
kept, just get
So they
do it.
lost last week, won last night. 4-1.
They beat the Lions, the Giants, the Falcons, the Buccaneers, and they lost to the Colts.
They lost to the Colts.
So I mean, it's it's,
good
They're all
Colts
really
team.
close
A
games, though.
good,
They
a
literally
good Colts game.
they have
Good
won
Colts
by
team.
4 points,
So-
4 points, 4 points. Literally 4 points, 3 games
Yeah.
they've won, and then 1 point.
yeah. I mean,
So they're
it's-
not crushing people.
But that's the way Baltimore
Yeah,
did that one
that's
year,
all you
and then
need.
Yeah.
ironically they had Trent Dilfer, who was a journeyman. Now you've got Foles over there, who's a journeyman. So I mean, it's
Okay.
going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Everyone, thank you very much for joining us today. We'll obviously have Robbie back, and then you're going to be gone for a couple episodes.
Yeah, I'll be gone next week.
So and we have a special treat, I believe, coming in then. We'll see if we can't get a special guest coming down. Thank you for joining us. Remember to like us on Facebook and to go ahead
Apple
like us
Pie.
on Apple Podcasts. I'm Tim Pohanka,
Devlin Riley.
Nick Hall.
and we'll see you here on the bench. Thank you for listening. Severe Lack of Talent is a weekly show with episodes arriving every Friday. This podcast is a Fredericksburg Strong original production hosted by Tim Pohanka, Nick Hall, Robbie Perry, and Devlin Riley. This podcast and all other Fredericksburg Strong podcasts can be found free on our Facebook page, Spotify, Apple iTunes, and anywhere you get your podcasts. Look for our special slot trivia challenge shows. And if you're a fan of the show, you can like us on Twitter at MoreGoatBell or at Severe Lack of Talent on Facebook. Severe Lack of Talent is produced and edited by Shandell Arana. It's executive produced by Tim Pohanka and is recorded at the Pohanka Podcast Studio in Fredericksburg.